What's up, everyone? Today is a much more bearable day at 34 degrees. It means for the most part I'm going to be able to use my hands and not have to put gloves on them. And that makes pulling apart things way easier. So it's going to get really cold this week, or I think we're talking a high of 18 and a much lower low. But next weekend might be 40. So if it's 40 degrees next weekend, we'll pull the rest of this body apart and do a little bit of figuring out what's going on with the frame that should be getting here Friday or Saturday. So anywho, today we are going to finish pulling the engine out. And once the engine's out, we can work on the garage, which is great. That means I can get you a little bit more content each week because I have lights in the garage. And that helps a lot when you're trying to film things. So it's pretty straightforward. We have the exhaust to pull off yet, the drive shaft, and just a couple linkages. And that's literally, oh, and of course the engine mounts. So I have nothing else really to say. We just got to get into it and get it done because I also want to do some work on the Jeep today. So let's go. All right. So as you can see, there's just 3 bolts holding the actual headers onto the rest of the exhaust. And it just looks like a couple bolts holding the transmission mount, which it's really cool. These older cars, everything is, there's no bushings. It's all solid mounts to things. It's a good thing they built the cars as sturdy as they did back then, because otherwise it would have been a heck of a ride. So yeah, we'll find something to brace the remaining parts of the exhaust, although I don't think I'm going to reuse the exhaust. It's pretty grody. So I might even just cut it with the Sawzall. I haven't really decided, because if I cut it with the Sawzall, then I'll be able to put a couple of mufflers on it while it's in the garage and we're sorting things out. That might be what I'll do, but for right now we'll still just dismantle the bits and pieces and get ready to pull the engine. The only thing left once we get the linkages off the transmission and the mounts off is just to pull the single bolt out of the actual engine mounts. That's it. You really got to give him credit for simplicity at its finest. All right, guys, the engine's out. That took all day, and fortunately we're out now. Just a matter of getting it inside the garage. I'll see if I can't get it in there with the transmission attached. It's going to be kind of hard to do that, but I don't know if the sled will pull the transmission in the engine. Transmission's actually bigger than I was expecting, but yeah, there was quite a bit of cabinetry a lot of cob together bits and pieces, bolts that obviously they stripped and just drilled out the hole, put the bolt through and put a nut on it, but the nut was so rotted on it that I had to grind it off. Now if you ever do have to grind and you think you're going to hit one of the spark plugs, the spark plugs are like what, $2-3? Leave the spark plug in there. It's not worth putting something in there worrying about it falling down there. Just put the sacrifice the spark plug. It's a very cheap part to replace, and in this case, you know, with the grinder it was going to happen. So leave it in there. It's better than trying to plug it with some, you know, whatever, cloth, and you pull the cloth out and some debris goes down there. It's just not worth it. So I'm going to try putting it in the garage with the transmission on it, like I said, but it really doesn't want to move on our driveway. I was kind of expecting it to still be kind of frozen like yesterday, but no, it sank right in. So I'm just glad it's done. You know, if you just got to do what you got to do. Oh, and I normally wouldn't cut the engine mounts off with the Sawzall, but they were giving me a hell of a time to get off, and the new frame will have its own engine mounts rather, so I wasn't really too concerned. The only problem I had was I ran out of long blades, and the one I started out with was almost dull. By the time I cut through this side, it was dull. So it was really difficult to get the blade in there to cut the driver's side off. But so that method has lasted for about 5 years with that particular sled. I would say that an engine, yes. Transmission, no. And I was really hoping it would have been yesterday when there was snow on the ground. And there will be snow on the ground tomorrow, but I want to get the engine in before then. Especially seeing how they're calling for like 8 inches. 4 to 8. But now I got to figure out how I'm going to get this thing inside. Also, the sled was already cracked. I don't know how that happened, but something fell on it in the garage or shed back there, but whatever. I was really hoping that would work. I was hoping that by putting the pieces of wood in there, it would actually have bolstered the bottom, but it actually broke right where it was previously cracked. So, yep, there goes that. I suppose I can go get the engine jack or engine lift picker, or whatever you want to call it, and try dragging her in that way. Whew, man, I'll tell you what. Nice hot shower, a hot meal, a little bit of beer, and I feel a lot better. I was getting a little bit hangry and all that. Skipped lunch, had a small breakfast, and starting to feel it. Starting to feel it. It was a long, long, long day. It was cold too. It was very cold. But hey, it's in here. Look at that. Guys, I am super excited. Now we got to get it on the stand and decide. Well, first we need to try to get it running. And once it's running, we have to decide what our path is. Something in my mind was just thinking how, because as it stands right now, there's not a 455 inside this garage, and there's that piece of junk LT1 with the 383 stroker, which doesn't mean anything because it's broken, super broken. Anyways, we don't have a 455 yet, so that means we just have the 350. So I'm very tempted to get this thing nice and clean, get it all built up, and maybe do a little bit of porta polishing and polishing the dome of the head. We want to get power out of it, because even after someday we get a 455, I want to put this in something else. So I want this thing to move. I want it to move the earth beneath its feet. Get some nice, I don't like chrome, so some blacked out valve covers, blah, 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 blah. So I also need to look into this. I don't know what the hell happened there. Let's see, where's my, I think my phone's upstairs. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a hell of a gap between the intake manifold and the heads. I don't think that's supposed to be that way. I will probably have to call up TA Performance on Monday and see what their opinion is. Just look how bad that. There's just so much bad. This car, I swear to God, I'm so excited for having it, and I'm so excited to move forward. I will never give up. I am like a rabid dog when it comes to, once I have a bone, I just won't let it go. Really annoys some of my family members, but I believe that if you have ambition and you have the gusto, you just got to go for it. And that's what we're going to do with this. We're going to go, just keep moving forward. It's like, even some days when I feel like I'm treading water on this car, we just got to keep pushing, and we'll get there. I would really love to see this thing on the road come spring, but anyways, I will put the actual me tearing at this engine and sawzawing at stuff right after this. And if you don't want to watch, you don't have to, but if you want to just, I don't know, watch someone struggling, if you can get someone helping you out on these things, it makes life a lot easier, especially getting it from point A to point B. And like, unfortunately yesterday was brutally cold, but I kind of was hoping it would stay that way. Even though you don't have the sensation in your fingers to be able to get on things, and you have to keep it constantly coming in and warming up so you don't get frostbite. And 18 degrees is, you know, don't mess around. But the ground was hard and there was snow, which then we could have, like you saw, put that right on the sled, and I've done that many, many times. You just drag it right in, get it up on one of the little, what do you call it, ramps, and ramp it right up in the garage, and it would have been fine. It was so warm today that the wheels, just bringing this out without any engine on it, I could barely even drag this through the driveway. It would just sink right in. But fortunately, my grandfather gave me that, I know I say a lot, I'm sorry, I'll work on that. But my grandfather gave me the winch over there, and that allowed me to kind of do a little bit of a rigmarole and it's like trying to find a straw, trying to grab that. But that allowed me to drag the engine pretty much where I needed it to be. That was the only way I could figure doing it, putting on one of those, I don't know, one of those dollies right there. And I mean, they're meant for wheels, but whatever. So I gotta get into this pretty quick though. You're gonna get a lot of content of me tearing at this. So guys, like, share, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. That helps out a lot. And you have yourselves a wonderful day. Stay warm. And if you are like me and you work outside a lot, hearty beer, like stouts, imperial stouts with nitro, whiskey, scotch. Enjoy, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. Take care.